Hello. Apologies for the sound. It's always something, so I just have to keep on going as if there's not noise current. Like there's some. I feel the channel message for this particular pile is you have to keep going no matter what's going on. There was a person the other day while I was doing the reading. I believe it was yesterday, actually, where I decided to do a reading, and somebody saw that I was doing the reading. Oh, I saw a dragonfly in my yard. That's a good omen. So, dragonflies might be significant to somebody. Anyway, with all this noise and this buzzing going around, I feel like maybe there's a problem with noise right now. As I was saying before I got distracted, I'm easily distracted. There was this person who saw I was doing a tarot reading, so they decided to bring their little lawnmower bike, I guess you would call it, pocket bike, whatever, and rev the engine as much as possible to try and interfere with the reading. And it was, there's two things you can get from that, is disruptions and people trying to interfere with what you're trying to do. But there's also the aspect of attention seeking and other people grabbing for your attention and needing to be seen by you. They can't tolerate the idea that they're not a part of your world, so they have to be very loud and very dramatic. And some people will prefer to have an impact in your life, even if that is a negative one, because to be silent or to be invisible is like death to them. So if that is something that resonates with you right now, this is your pipe. Okay, I am going to try a different deck today. It's the Tarot of the Divine. So I just saw the flash of the King of Wands. So yeah, I feel like there are a lot of people who are very passionate about you right now. They want to be the main character in your life. They have a lot of fire energy, obviously stands out. So this person may be Sagittarius, Leo, what's the other one? Aries, of course. My son is an Aries. So those are the dominant energies of your reading. It may mean that those particular seasons will be relevant in the year to come. So season, winter solstice is on December 21st. I've had several people in my life with that birthday. It's on the cusp of a change. So maybe you're on the edge of a huge transformation right now, or something will be happen. There'll be stages of this transformation, perhaps through those seasons. So Sagittarius season is now at the time of this reading, end of 2024. It is a timeless reading, so it may be next year's Sagittarius season. But what is happening in your life, what is unfolding, is very likely to continue on and come in stages. I hear come in stages, ebbs and flows, and I feel like the flow is going to come during. It's going to begin now in Sagittarius season, and then it's going to intensify perhaps around Aries season. That could be in the end of March to mid-April, late April. And so that's when the energies will really intensify. Or maybe it's whenever you're watching this, maybe that's how long it takes for this energy to truly build up. So what is it? December through to April. What is that? 4 months? 3 to 4 months. So maybe it'll really take some time for whatever projects you've got going on to really build up, for you to even see their potential. Oh, lady beetle. Oh, flew away. I attract a lot of bugs. Here he is. There we go. Can you see him? He's very little. He's so cute. He's on a little stalk of plantain. Someone may be into herbal medicine, or perhaps they need to investigate herbal medicine and especially the medicinal properties of ribwort or plantain. I encourage weeds to grow in my yard, or what other people perceive as weeds. I'd quite appreciate it in my yard. Oh, off it goes. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. There is something going on where you are on the pathway to abundance. I'm hearing predominantly spiritual abundance, not necessarily financial abundance. You're going through a bit of a glow up. And I got a download earlier, and I might do a video on it at a later point, perhaps in a more short form to summarize it, maybe even in like a meme or a joke. But it's going to be a true glow up. It's not going to be what you thought was a glow up last time. So the example it gave me was this current trending towards, I guess, mistaking changes, physical changes with positive transformation. Like the idea of all weight loss is good and healthy, and that motivation for doing those things is shouldn't be taken into consideration or shouldn't be a factor in whether or not a person gets praised. So the download was that some people are maybe judging you based on their limited understanding of or their progress in their spirituality or just general developmental progress even, because not everyone is spiritual, but if you look at it in context of what you have achieved during your lifespan, people may look at you and judge you and have a lot to say and think you haven't achieved much, or at least on paper they have achieved a lot more. But what I'm getting is that what they are achieving now, you actually achieved, or the lesson that you learned many years ago. So if they're equating weight loss with success and abundance and achieving something, but then they are doing that weight loss in order to circumvent the lesson of self love. Well, maybe you've already learned that lesson. Maybe they haven't learned that yet. Perhaps their judgments of you, even your physical appearance, may come from that limited understanding of what constitutes health. And what I'm getting, oh, here, this came out, the star. So you're a star in other people's eyes, and you may not appreciate that or understand the full extent of your impact and how people admire you. And sometimes the people that admire you don't always express that in the most positive ways. The shadow side of admiration is envy. And what do we do when we envy someone? Well, if we live in that egoic space, we might be tempted to tear the person down or speak untruths to them. Like if they are perceived as beautiful to you, if you are living in that negative headspace where you are not healed, you may actually tell them the opposite, that they are not attractive, or pick at the things that you feel make them ordinary or not special. And I feel like she's actually with this image of the star. I don't know if you can see, but there's like a wish there. And so maybe recently, this particular group, you have been wishing to be different. And I am telling you that that is not you. Oh, what I'm getting is you're focusing on the things that you lack and what you've lost. And people may be drawing your attention to those things due to their lack and what they lack in their lives. They may lack integrity. Yeah, so what else do we have here? So we've got these other two cards. Okay, they were in reverse, but I'm choosing, for some reason, I'm hearing that I'm not supposed to take them in reverse, so I will trust spirit. And what has come through is the Three of Wands and the Knight of Cups. So yeah, I'm seeing someone ascending on a ladder, and she's reaching out as if in desperation, the desire to escape. The ladder is made out of bones. So the first thing is I hear is like with the ascension of the ladder made out of bones, I hear learn from the lessons of your ancestors. Not everything has to be hard, and as you can see, there are many layers, many generations. I'm seeing the spiraling of the DNA, the double helix, and you don't have to twist yourself around. You don't have to. You can just learn. You can just go straight up. You don't have to make the same mistakes. You can break those intergenerational curses, is what I hear. I don't like using those kinds of cliches, those kinds of terms, but I feel that it's really fitting at this time, particularly with the star and people not wanting you to see your true value as the star. You mourning things in the past, mourning your mistakes. I feel like there are regrets there in this image, that there's something that she deeply wishes for, but she has the ability, she actually has the knowledge within her to help you. And I don't want this to be interpreted the wrong way. Not everything has to be left to the divine. This is, I feel like, the healing that needs to happen right now is something that you are well and truly equipped to deal with. You have already dealt with a lot of challenges in your life. You are actually higher on this ladder, and we're always fearful when we are higher than, when we're ascending, the higher we actually are, and the more that we achieve, the more that we ascend. When we fall, or when we slip, it seems so much more high stakes. But you the ground is not hard and dry. The rains have come, and I don't know if I'm communicating spirit correctly, but the rains have come and have made the ground fertile and moist. So when you fall, and you will fall and stumble and slip, because after all, when you're on a ladder in the rain, it's very slippery. When you have this fall, you have actually ascended higher than you thought you have, but you haven't ascended so much that if you were to fall, you wouldn't be able to get back up. And you are I heard well versed in this kind of mistake. So it may be a mistake that you've made a lot, but it's not something to be ashamed that you've made this mistake a lot. It's more of it's a problem to every time that you do slip up. Oh, where'd it go? Sorry. I think I've lost the card. Oh, bugger. Okay, so the card was the Three of Wands, and she was ascending. Oh, that was in front of me. I'm such a doofy. Anyway, so with this ladder, she has ascended. When people receive the news in their reading, oh, you haven't progressed as much, that tends to be interpreted rather negatively. But I'm here to assure you that it's actually in your favor, and you need to continue to make, you will make more mistakes, and posturing like the experts, the King of Wands who have followed their dreams and achieved their goals and are passionate and driven, they may look at you and think that you are not successful, or you will not be successful based on the path that you have taken so far. But I hear relatability is super, super important to this group. Rebatability? I'll have to look that up. But I meant relatability. It's so important for what you want to achieve to be relatable to have made those mistakes. Nobody wants a guru or a personal development coach who hasn't made any mistakes in their life or is in no way relatable. If they were born rich and they're trying to teach you how to get rich, they're probably not actually going to have as many clientele as a person who came from the bottom and worked out how to get their way to the top. Even if their strategy is not easily implemented by everybody, the fact that they are able to show their mistakes and show that with those mistakes that they can get back up and they can try again, and with that many stumblings there was success at the end, that can give a lot of people hope. To summarize, ignore the haters, connect with your ancestors, really connect with the experiences of your ancestors, and look at the mistakes that they made in their life, the things where you thought, and they may have been very successful in their life, but perhaps there were areas that you can identify that they had their limitations, and maybe with careful contemplation those limitations affect you in the same way. And it may be in areas that you say you have limitations in areas of career. You may try to fix what's going on by, taking more business related classes. But what I'm getting is that the limitations might actually be in areas of love. And so therefore, in order to succeed in a business sense, you need to find better mentors in the relationship areas, and maybe you need to heal relationship wounds that you share with some of your ancestors that made you perhaps more dependent on the thoughts and ideas of others in order to be validated. Maybe you seek people's approval excessively, which is why you have this wounded star energy, this wounded healer energy is what I hear as well. So in order to help other people, you need to heal your own wounds, and then you need to mentor people from that wounded space, not from what everybody else is doing and teaching, if that makes sense. And also, yeah, the sun. And once you alchemize that energy, that that prior wound turns into strength and determination and independence. So if you were codependent, when you heal this wound, you will be a thought leader, and everybody will be coming to you for guidance. They'll be going to the star for guidance, and you will have as much influence as the sun, I hear. As far as the rays touch the earth, will be your influence, even if you don't see it. And you don't always see the influence of the sun. Its presence is eternal and ever present, even when the sun goes down. So I hope that reading was helpful. And if it was, like, comment, tell me how it helped you. And don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Hello. Okay, so the channel message for group 2 is don't feel bad when you achieve more than others, when you gain some kind of abundance. When you are abundant, that it generally comes at the expense of someone or something else. What I was looking at when I got that thought was I collect wishbones from roast and I clean them up and I leave them on my windowsill. I know it's weird to leave just lying around my house, but there you are. I'm a witch. I collect bones. I was sitting there waiting for this dead crow to be reclaimed by nature so I could take its skull. But turns out there's some closet witches where I live, because on day of collection, it had been sitting there for many weeks and being broken down by the ants. Somebody decided to steal my crow head and crow skull and leave the rest. So I was very annoyed by that. Yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. But the point is, I was looking at the wishbone and I was like, wow, that wasn't very lucky for the chicken, was it? And that might be a problem that you're experiencing. Is I heard survivor's guilt. The idea that perhaps, and that may be triggering for some people, that the journey that you've been on, not everybody. Okay, I was just hearing a sound that was very spooky, but it's just the sound of a car from a distance. Because what I was about to say is, not everybody has made it on this journey. You may have loved ones who have passed away young. You may be constantly reminded by their presence, partially by the fact that you've outlived them, but also the fact that they are with you. They are with you always. So the next time that you're experiencing that kind of sadness because they're not around, I want to assure you that the reason why you're actually feeling that sadness is because they are around. I know that sounds rather contradictory saying that, but the reason why you're feeling and you're missing them is because you're feeling them in spirit. And I know that's not the same. It's not the same as touching them, feeling them, hugging them. But when you feel that grief or that loss, whether it be for a grandparent, a parent, or even a pet, you may have lost a pet. And a lot of people may trivialize that and say that that's not significant. But if you don't have a lot of people in your life, well, that is quite significant. And pets can be more loyal than a lot of our family sometimes. I can attest to that. So, okay, several cards are coming out already. So, what I've got from the Tarot of the Divine is I've got the Seven of Coins, a lot of fire in that image, the Nine of Swords, and the Queen of Cups. So, what I hear from the Seven of Coins, the Seven of Pentacles, is this is unusual because what I actually got was related to the Seven of Cups, not the Seven of Coins. But what came through is you may be assessing past situations and focusing on things that did not work out, that went up in flames. And not understanding what the version of you forged from the fire is actually integral to some of the successes that you have now. Some of the losses of the past forged you into the person you are now. So that's not at all what the Seven of Coins usually represents. It's usually represented as incremental effort. But I feel that these little losses that have happened along the way, and it may be the loss of these people. Like I said, you may have lost multiple friends quite young. Either they've passed on, or maybe they, it's as if they were passed on. They've gone to a better place. They've moved on. But I'm actually getting to the other world, or the underworld for a lot of people. You're not really appreciating how these things have transformed you for the better or for the positive. Nine of Swords, yeah. So I'm getting, grief and nightmares and staying up all night thinking about all of. Actually, it's not just people; it's lost opportunities. So because the loss a loss of people is not just a loss of being sad for the loss of relationships, but also grieving the loss of potential what could have been. So there may not be literal death, but it's the death of potential. And with the energy of the Queen of Cups, there's a lot of water energy. Yeah, someone's getting carried along right now by the emotional currents of their mind and allowing it to control them. All of these little, I see these coins as representative of thought forms, memories, and I see with the Nine of Swords, which is usually representative of worry, apprehensions, sometimes nightmares, insomnia, being kept up at night, mental health issues, a lot of tension in my forehead. So what I am getting very strongly for this group is there's something that you need to release. And I feel like it's releasing the regrets and the what ifs, the loss, the grieving the lost potential of something, because we don't have control of everything in our lives. Some things do actually have to be left up to the divine, and we won't understand everything that's happened in our life and the divine purpose for it, particularly when it comes to tragedy. No one really understands why these terrible things have to happen, and certainly not why they have to happen to good people or to you. Like they can't happen to terrible people or the people we would rather not have good things happen for. Sometimes it can feel a little, I'm getting the energy of not understanding the purpose or the reason of it all and feeling that root, that energy. I'm seeing energy swirling around her, rumination. And she is floating in pure white garbs, and they're all crying. I am getting strong energy for some that it was the loss of a mother, perhaps the loss of a mother when you were a child, and not necessarily orphaned, because you may have still had your father, but lacking, really regretting not having that energy in your life and seeing how having that imbalance, only having one side of the parental dynamic, having the only the opposite sex parent and not having the same sex parent may have deeply affected you. And like I said, maybe it's not death, but maybe it was like death. Maybe they were an absentee parent, and or maybe you were taken away from your parents for some time. Maybe you were sent away from your parents, and you were really feeling in the present. You are feeling the absence of back then, back when, is what I hear. I want to take more cards, see if I can get more clarification in spirit. You know what? The interesting thing I heard then was there was part of that message that resonated and part of it doesn't. It may be difficult for you to discern. You take what resonates and what doesn't. If there's any kind of emotional resistance, even if it's correct, but it makes you angry, like it ought not to be true, you might have to look into that wound and understand why it made you angry. Okay, the next thing I get was Emperor and Ten of Swords. Maybe there's been a recent severance from an authority figure, someone who had a lot of control in your life, that has forced you to reflect upon some of the disempowering moments in your life that you have reflected upon because of what has happened with this Emperor energy and this Ten of Swords, this ending, this very dramatic and violent, abrupt ending, it's forced you to reflect upon past circumstances and why this current circumstance wounds you so strongly. Maybe you found out that you thought that you had something that you never truly had. It was never really within your grasp. Perhaps you had a caregiver that you loved deeply, but they weren't who you thought they were. There was some kind, you thought that they were the Queen of Cups, but perhaps they were actually so the shadow aspect of the authority figure is someone who's very assertive and controlling. So maybe you thought you had a very Queen of Cups figure, but what you actually got instead was the Emperor. What I am hearing is from the Ten of Swords is that there was a great cost, and it was all loss. There was nothing gained. There was no winners in this circumstance, this recent event that has happened with the Emperor. It doesn't matter if it's right to others, they're standing on principle, no matter what the cost. There are the loving, benevolent leaders, and then there are the despots. And you only truly find out what kind of leader of a country or even a family that you have. You don't find out who they truly are until you have some kind of crisis within that family, in your community, within your nation. That's when you find what people are made of. There's this dramatic and abrupt ending, this coming to reality of understanding. So I'm seeing the sword energy in this Emperor energy. So the Ace of Swords, it's all about spoken word, truth. To finding out that the truth of the matter is how controlling this particular leader truly was within your community, within your family, in your local culture. Someone that had a profound impact on you. Perhaps if you've had that loss of maternal figure, you may have actually lost your maternal figure, like I said, quite early and quite young. And therefore, you experienced a father figure that was quite hardened, quite cold, very heavily disciplined and expect the same of you, and lacked a lot of warmth. Or perhaps if you see the Queen of Cups alongside the Emperor, perhaps the Queen of Cups was the presentation and the Emperor was the reality, so therefore they would use your own emotions or your own desires for love and acceptance in order to manipulate you. Okay. Is there any other... Okay, so I see Temperance in reverse, and what I heard was imbalance when it came to discipline. So take that as it resonates. But you may have had to, as well as dealing with your own trauma, have to deal with the consequences of other people's trauma. And that continues to affect you in your current situation. Okay, so reverse Two of Swords. So I feel like someone has failed to be accountable for their own choices. So perhaps you're leaning a little bit too heavily on this trauma at this time. And although it's really important to understand why why you are responding in the way that you are to these current circumstances. Okay, the Chariot is on the bottom of the deck, and the Moon. So there may be a strong desire to get away, perhaps be in denial about the circumstances that you are in right now, not wanting to accept the changes, the Ten of Swords with the Emperor. You want to live in that state where you continue to see the person as the Queen of Cups and not the Emperor, not the person who is very much assert my authority. It's my way or the highway. Oh, there's the King of Wands again. That was in the previous group. Is there anything else that this group should know? I think I want to wind that up. I always try to give everyone a fair and balanced reading. I try and give as much time as I give to all of the groups, but it's really hard. But Spirit just gives what Spirit gives. And that may be a message for you, that sometimes you just have to accept that things come in the right timing, and that everything that you expect to get isn't always how it is delivered. And sometimes Spirit can be short and very direct and straight to the point. So, okay, there's that Seven of Cups that I was seeing before, that I saw in the Seven of Coins, and the Ten of Cups, and there's the Three of Wands again, which came out in the other group. So yeah, I'm very much seeing someone really exploited your desire. I see these people from the outside looking in, and I feel like there was this constantly having to work for love and approval, and perhaps this exploiting of this longing for someone else, or someone who was, like I said, taken away too soon. The desire for that relationship, the other person, your other parent, whoever this person is, whoever the Emperor is within your family or your community, who had authority over your life and used to control you, maybe they exploited family tradition, family dynamics, cultural roles of parents and children, and what is expected of children, and how, blood's thicker than water kind of sayings, to really take advantage and confuse you. So it may not be a parent. It was just some kind of authority figure within your community. It could be, that could give me ick feelings. It could even be a past lover that took on the role of a parent, because you lacked parental figures, and they really took advantage of that lack of family that you so desperately wanted, to make you feel that a relationship was progressing, whereas in reality it was just a mirage, and they were more adding confusion to your life. I don't know if that made sense. I just felt like I was totally on a roller coaster for that reading, and that maybe how you're feeling. You may feel like you thought that you were on one ride and you ended up being on another ride. Your expectations did not meet the reality. You were not informed in advance of what experience you were going to get in this life, and what the lesson is supposed to be, and what they are supposed to learn. I hope that was helpful to you. If you thought it was helpful, like it, comment. You can leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.